He's a blue state there, Wildcat. His family's up there.
Not a big football fan.
So supposedly this quarterback, he's supposed to be great. Mm-hmm. Tell us more about it.
All right, let's start out about the Kentucky Wildcats. They lost Will Levis. He didn't get drafted in the first round, am I right?
Well, no, he supposedly, now just from what I've watched, he's a little bit of a hard to get along with. I'll just say that.
Levis is.
Yeah. His abilities are great, but just not real. He's not your friendly neighborhood grocery store guy.
Well, Kentucky's struggle last year was with offense, 116th in scoring, 112th in yards per game.
That ain't gonna work.
But they brought back Liam Cohen. He's going to be their OC. Everybody loves him. He's supposed to be great. And he brought in Devin Leary from North Carolina State, who had 6,800 yards but was hurt most of last year. Only passed for 1,200 last year. But the year before that, he threw for 3,400. So he's a great addition. He's going to take Levis's spot. The line for Kentucky last year was awful. Now, y'all tell me, but they've got most of them back. Is that a good thing?
Experience always experience a lot of times outweighs talent sometimes.
Right.
It depends on the coaching and what they get out of it, and the kids are hungry and they want to get back out there and they're ready.
Well, their line was not considered good by no means last year. And, Kentucky went 7-6, but they do have most of those linemen back, and they have a transfer from actually USC that can help them on the offensive line. But the biggest transfer was running back Ray Davis from Vanderbilt.
Smokes, because he.
Yeah, Kowalski Smoke moved on. He transferred. Ray Davis gained 1,042 yards for Vanderbilt last year. And the main reason they think Kentucky will be a lot better is because of Leary and Dane Key and Barian Brown, their two receivers. 75 catches, 1,147 yards between them. Both freshman All-Americans. And Barian Brown averages 27 yards a kick return, which was one of the best in the nation. And I'll tell you I'll tell you some more about Kentucky's schedule here in a minute. Defensively, Kentucky does not bring back a lot. They bring back 6 starters. But you need to bring back more than 6 starters to be solid on defense. Kentucky didn't rack it up in the transfer portal either, except for Leary and Davis. Defensively, they didn't. They do have a potential All-American in Deion Walker on the D-line. Secondary needs some work. They don't have a lot of experience. Linebackers don't have a lot of experience.
That ain't sounding good.
They don't sound great, but here's the best part about Kentucky. Now, Kentucky has the easiest first 5 games in the country.
All right, guys, y'all take a look at the schedule there on screen.
And probably the hardest last 7 in the country. All right, let's go through this right quick. All right, Matt, they play at home versus Ball State. Hayden, you want to pick this one?
Yeah, I think I'll go with I think I'll take a Kentucky W here.
Okay, that's a mid-major team. Then they play Eastern Kentucky. There's a Division I AA.
Yeah, okay.
Then they stay at home again versus Akron. Okay, I'm thinking they're going to be 3-0.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say 4-0.
And they travel to Vandy, which you don't play good at Vandy, you could get upset. But let's give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, they're 4-0, hosting the Gators at home on September the 30th.
See, and the Gators are rebuilt. I'm thinking Kentucky's going to be 5-0.
Okay, and then they will be heading October the 7th to Athens, Georgia. Hayden, what do you feel about the Gators and the Wildcats matching up there in Lexington? Any chance that the Gators pull this off?
Against Georgia? No, you're talking about Florida.
I think that there's a chance for Florida to beat Kentucky, but Kentucky is – I think, to me, Kentucky returns a little bit too much or I say returns. I think Kentucky has a little bit too much offensively, and I don't think that defense is going to be great for Florida either. And Florida's offense is not going to be a bright spot for them. But I'm not saying that this Florida team is going to be absolutely horrible, and I don't think they're going to be great either. I'm a believer in Billy Napier. Don't get me wrong, but he has a buzzsaw to run through as a schedule, so it's not going to be easy at all. You got the number 1 wide receiver targeting out, Ricky Pearsall. There we go. I couldn't think of his first name, but you got Ricky Pearsall, who could make some noise at the wide receiver position this year as he did last year. The guy can get open and he can make plays. So if you're Florida, I think you need to get him the ball as much as you can if you're going to be passing the ball. But unfortunately, you don't have Anthony Richardson like you did last year, and you have a huge downgrade in Graham Mertz. And no offense to Graham Mertz, but you can't come in and expect to replace Anthony Richardson because Anthony Richardson was he was just a phenomenal athlete. I'm going to go with Kentucky, but that's just
The thing that bothers me about it is Florida's got Kentucky's number. They beat them 27 out of the last 30 years. But like you said, hey, Kentucky does have more firepower.
Absolutely.
They got a lot more firepower, I think. And Florida's rebuilding. Now, the next year it may be a different story, but I'm with Hayden on that. I think Kentucky will be 5-0 and ranked in the top 15. Well, they're probably not going to be ranked in the top 15 because they're not going to get any They're not going to get any quality wins there. Florida would probably be considered a quality win, maybe. But then they go to Georgia,
October 7th at Georgia.
And I think there's no way they win that ball game.
No.
No, I don't think they win versus Georgia. I think they beat Missouri though. I think they go 6-1.
They beat Missouri 6-1, but then they play Tennessee, which they've been known to upset Tennessee. That's a classic, but I don't think they will this year.
October the 28th, they will play Tennessee after tough spotted October 21st playing Idle. Idle is definitely tough.
Idle's probably the best team in the country.
Bye. You got to watch Bye, Hayden. You got to watch those.
You get that joke, don't you, Hayden?
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
We're talking about Idle. You know how good a football team they are. Everybody plays them every year.
Yeah.
IDLE, Idle.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
It's kind of a running joke here. Sometimes we call it Bye. I mean, Bye is tough. You
may
lose
Idle, open.
Open, that's hard. They're undefeated.
I don't think Auburn would have. I don't think Auburn last year could have beaten their Bye. So, or the year before.
Yeah, we're going to let you talk about Auburn football. You can break it down here in a minute.
I don't think they beat Tennessee. Might be a good game. Now, here's the catch game for them.
Okay.
They travel to Mississippi State. Does Kentucky win at Mississippi State?
They got a new coach, a lot of new kids, different offense. I assume that Kentucky could win over there.
Okay, we'll give them that one. All right, then. They come back home, but they've got Alabama. They got Alabama. They got Georgia, Tennessee, and Alabama. I don't think they win. I don't think they win that. Would y'all agree?
They upset Tennessee.
You think they upset Tennessee?
I think they upset Tennessee this year.
I mean, it's possible. That wouldn't shock me.
I know it sounds kind of crazy to say right now, but with Tennessee, I feel like that a lot of people are putting this team at a 9 or 10 win team, possibly even an 8-4 team. I have Tennessee at 9-3 with Kentucky being their swing game. If they can get Kentucky, then I think they win 10. But I just don't see – I don't know. I feel like Kentucky's going to get them out, especially since they're at home this year.
Well, after Alabama, here's another catch game for Kentucky. They go to South Carolina. I'm going to be honest. I think they lose that one, 110%.
I'm with you.
November 18th, and then the 25th, they will go to Louisville at L&N Stadium there at Louisville, Kentucky, which is a great in-state, and you did a spot on Louisville, and they're going to be okay.
They're going to be okay. Kentucky's kind of been running that little rivalry here lately, though, have they not? Since Lamar Jackson left.
Yeah.
They've been on top of it.
Okay, so according to what we've got here, we've both got them. We've all got them going. 1, 2, 3.
No, they went
8-4.
They went 7-6 last year. So
7-6 last year. Yeah, 8-4. Can we get on board with that? Do we agree with that? Or y'all thinking 7-5? Or
7-5 could be one, but like I said, that Tennessee game is gonna to me, that's gonna be what swings it. So yes, sir. I have Kentucky 8-4 as well.
8-4, 7-5. Okay, I'm gonna ask y'all any possible way that Kentucky goes 9-3.
If they beat Tennessee, but Tennessee beat them last year, you can look on the screen, 44-6.
Yes.
They was lucky they kicked 2 field goals. It wasn't even a touchdown. I'm pretty sure that's right.
But even with them beating Tennessee, I'm thinking if they do beat Tennessee, I think South Carolina or Mississippi State will get them. I don't think they're going to beat Georgia or Alabama. I think 8-4, 7-5. Maybe at best, at absolute best, 9-3. No way they go 10-2.
No.
They beat Florida last year 28-16. They beat the Gators
Beat
last
the
year.
Gators. I think they're going to start out 5-0. I'd like to see them beat Georgia. Nothing against Georgia, but I mean, God, that would be great.
Benton, you hear this kind of stuff? Where's he?
Sorry, Benton. Forgive me, buddy. I'd like to see them knock off anybody that's except Alabama. But I'm thinking 8-4, 7-5. I'd be shocked if they went 6-6 again. I think they went 6-6 in the regular season and won their bowl game. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I think they'll be a little better because Leary's good. And
Oh
with
no,
the line coming back.
They went 7-5 last year and lost their bowl game to Iowa.
Oh,
Yes, they did.
But
They
barely lost, right?
21.
I
No,
think
they
it was
beat Iowa
21-10.
21-10.
Okay.
21-10.
So they went 7-5. So maybe a little bit of improvement, but see, they lost a lot of guys on defense, and they've got a tough schedule. I mean, that's a tough schedule. I know at first it's not, but later on it is. So
as you can see here,
that's pretty much all I got on the Cats. So we're going 8-4 or 7-5.
Yeah.
Okay.
They'll be as good as they was last year. If they can pull off some kind of smoke voodoo show and beat Tennessee.
Possible. I mean, Tennessee's not going to be as good as they were, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know. See, they're very up in the air. Kentucky, too. I mean, they got a new quarterbacks coming in, but the same coach, same guy, Stoops, been there for years, very settled. Mm-hmm. I'm curious to see how the Wildcats linebackers that you talked about, these guys, coming in.
New.
Yeah.
I think the receivers are going to be the difference for Kentucky. These two guys are good.
But if you had 112th ranked offense or so,
112,
you really got to step your game way up.
Yeah,
way up.
But they still went 7-5 with 112th ranked offense. But that's bad because there's how many teams in FBS? 135,
yeah,
133.
Yeah.
So they were in the lower. They're in the
lower
worst 10%. Yeah.
That loss against Iowa did not help them out any.
No. Y'all can look at your screen, podcast listeners. Thank all you guys for coming by Spotify and Applecast. Remember, guys, we're here every Sunday night, 6 o'clock live. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button while you're here. Help us grow our YouTube page. Help us spread the word. We do a good show here. It's a good, clean show. We have a good time, and we love having on great guests like Hayden to come on and talk about his Auburn Tigers. And I know we didn't even talk about him doing this, but we just kind of got fired up here. And let's look at Auburn here. Y'all can see it on the screen. They're going to open with UMass. That's going to be a win. I'm going to skip that pretty quick.
Yeah, I think they'll win that.
What do you think about Auburn traveling to California? What do you think about that?
Are you me?
Yes. What do you think about Auburn heading out to California?
Play Cal.
Yeah.
That's going to be an interesting one because it's a 9:30 game, and I'm not big on staying up too late on especially. Well, I mean, I'll stay up late on Saturday night. I don't want to sound like too big of a buzzkill, but I'm not big on staying up too late. Anyways, I remember a few years ago when Auburn beat LSU for the first in Baton Rouge for the first time in like 22 years. That game lasted until 12 o'clock because it didn't start till 8 o'clock at night. So it's safe to say for me, I'm not big on staying up late, but I think that Auburn will get the win in California. But that time change could throw them off a little bit, and I'm not particularly sure on how California will be this year. But I have Auburn taking the win there.
I do think you're correct on that. If you play anybody in the Pac-12, that's probably no disrespect, but that's probably who you want to play.
Yeah,
would be Cal.
Yes, Trey Freeze don't go on probation.
Yeah, or Washington State.
Yeah, this year be Cal and Washington State, I would think. But I mean, it could be a tough game.
Moving to September 16th, they should get the win at home. It's going to be a homecoming game, having homecoming early against Sanford, and then rolling on to a team I'm going to talk about here in a minute, A&M Aggies. They will be at College Station. Hugh Freeze trip out there. He hadn't been out there in quite some time, many years ago.
I'm going to predict them to lose that one.
Think A&M beats them?
Yes. Because it's there.
What you got?
I've got Auburn going 4-0. And my reasoning for this is because Auburn has had A&M's number in College Station the last few years. And there's a lot of question around Texas A&M this year. Are they going to have – of course they have the pieces, but are they going to have what it takes to put it all together? You have a new offensive coordinator in Bobby Petrino. I really want to see Petrino take the offense over and let Jimbo let his ego slide a little bit and give the play calling to Petrino, because I feel like Petrino can do some good things. But I'm going to take Auburn just for that fact there. And also, I feel like Auburn has something going for them on the offensive side of the ball. There's some question though around Peyton Thorne and Robbie Ashford, so it's going to be interesting. But I have Auburn in week 4.
Okay. I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna go with you on this one. I just studied A&M, and I may be showing my hand a little bit early, but I'm just not.
You're not sold.
I'm not sold on A&M or Jimbo and what he's doing. I will see how Petrino does out there, and I'm going to tell you about some of their players, and we'll look at their schedule too and where they ranked at in recruiting and those kind of things. Auburn Tigers moving on there Saturday the 30th, hosting Georgia.
Yeah, they're going to
probably
drop that.
Probably would be a lot. They're just kind of outmatched right now. Now, Kip Spreece has done a good job in recruiting. He's got a lot of good players in there, and you're going to have Cobb from Montgomery Catholic down there on the scene. And we talked about the kid on the line from Highland Home, and he's done more in the offseason than Harsin did last year for Auburn. So Auburn's not ready to win this game yet.
No, not yet.
Maybe,
I wouldn't think he could be expected to.
Maybe in a year or two. And then they'll have, of course, the all-alluded, terrible, terrible team of Idle, October the 7th.
3-3.
They're going to come off Idle, and they're going to be at LSU. What do you think about the Georgia and LSU here? What do you got about that? Auburn at Georgia. Do they have a shot? Do they have a chance?
It would be a shot in the dark. And my reasoning is because I have LSU winning the SEC West this year. I'll go ahead and give that away. I don't think Auburn has what it takes, especially defensively. I think this LSU team is going to be fantastic on the offensive side of the ball this year. I don't see Auburn. I don't see Auburn keeping it close enough to be within striking distance in the fourth quarter. So I took LSU, and LSU, that's my SEC West winner. So.
Okay. All right. And October 21st, Auburn will be at home for Ole Miss. I think that'll be an interesting game.
They've got a tough schedule.
Ole Miss has got SEC is going to be, because you're going to be playing these. Look who Auburn's playing.
I mean, it's awful.
Dude, they got to go to Cal, and they're going to come back for homecoming and get a gimme game for Stanford. But then they're going to, after they get back from playing Stanford at home, after the California trip, then they're going to go to College Station. Then they're going to host Georgia. Mm-hmm. Then they take a break there. Then they're going to go to Baton Rouge. Then they're going to come home and play Ole Miss, and Lane Kiffin and them, they're fired up.
Junkins is good. Dart or Sanders, whoever.
That Junkins kid, what do you think about him, Hayden?
Man, he is insane. He had 16 total touchdowns last year and over 5,000 all-purpose yards. The guy's just an absolute dog. I don't really know how to put it other than that. He's fantastic. He'll be one of the better running backs this upcoming year. And then maybe in a few years you'll see him go in the first round of the NFL draft. But Quinshon Judkins he's going to be the offensive player to watch out for the Ole Miss Rebels this year, or Land Sharks, whatever you want to call them. I agree. How politically correct you want me to be. But it's definitely something to see, because he was just phenomenal last year. And if he can total 1,500 yards on offense and 16 total touchdowns alone in his freshman year, I don't even want to begin to even fathom what is going to happen within the next few years with him.
Well, is Auburn going to be good enough up front? Defensively up front, their linebackers, and we're going to get into Auburn in the next few weeks. We're going to start doing. We did the Pac-12. We've done Big Ten. We've done Big 12. Gosh, this summer we've been all over the country and covered.
Yes.
So
literally.
Now
the whole country.
We're going to get into SEC from here on out, and then when season kicks, of course, we'll be stuck on there. But is Auburn got the dudes defensively to wrangle Junkins at home at Auburn? Now, listen. Now, this game's at Auburn, and it's going to – I don't say what time. If they play that game at night, I'm telling you, be careful, Ole Miss. Auburn can pull this game out.
Yeah, definitely. I think Auburn's going to be 4-3 after those 7 games. I don't know if Texas A&M's going to beat them or Ole Miss. I think they'll beat one of them.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. I have them 4-7 after their first, 4-3 after their first 7 games.
Right.
The next few weeks are a different story, but for the first 7 weeks, I have them at 4-3.
they kind of settle down. Then after that, we'll go into the Halloween weekend. They'll get to host another home game. They'll play the Mississippi State. And I think they win that game. And then they're going to go to Vanderbilt. Now, I said this early when I watched their spring game, and maybe I got a little too excited because I was watching Vanderbilt's spring game. I'm just saying that Tutter kid is good. I'm just saying this. I'm not calling – and I said that when I said this a month ago. I'm not picking Vanderbilt to beat Auburn. I'm just saying Auburn better be careful, and their D-backs better not go up there just kind of grinning and smiling. Their mouthpieces stuck in the top of their helmets and just kind of loafing. That QB is good at Vanderbilt. Have you seen him play?
I have not. I have not gotten to see him play. No.
Check
sir.
him out. Hey, go just hit YouTube. I think it's Sean Taylor or
well, they're going to upset somebody. We
He's
can't
good.
pick Vanderbilt not to win the SEC game. They're going to upset somebody. We just don't know who, and I'm afraid to pick who.
He's good, guys. Go look him up on YouTube. He's really good. I like how he plays. I like the excitement of the coach. And hey, I'm just saying. Now I'm not calling for the upset, so don't get me swung out on that. But Vanderbilt's going to
be all right.
Yeah. Now they're going to go to Arkansas November 11th. What do we feel about our last year's coach of the year?
Arkansas is going to be that great.
Pittman. I don't either.
They don't have enough firepower.
Yeah, you're right. And their defense is so what's the word? I'll just say not good.
Right.
Not good. Especially because you lose Drew Sanders, you lose Bumper Pool, you lose Miles Slusher, and you lose the other cornerback to Texas as well, and Jalen Catalan. So you lose some of your top defensive players. You didn't have Slusher play much last year anyways, though. But
Catalan moved on.
It's not going to be good for you. What's that?
I did not know. Catalan transferred.
Yes, sir. He transferred to Texas.
He's pretty good. He was pretty good. I'd studied on Arkansas. We did a piece on them, and of course they've got Jefferson and Sanders who are good, but they just don't have a lot around them.
No, they don't.
I think we picked them to go 6-6, 7-5 at best.
I have Arkansas 7-5.
So we kind of felt Auburn.
Forward to is Jaden Hazelwood to see if he is able to make some key plays, but we'll see.
Yeah.
So we kind of we're kind of agreeing here. We got Auburn coming off maybe a close game with Ole Miss, but then they're going to go home and beat Mississippi State. They're going to go beat Vanderbilt. They're going to go to Arkansas and win. They're coming off quite a run there. They're going to get to host, of course, New Mexico State. They win that game. And then it'll be time for the Iron Bowl, which is at Auburn. And rankings and talk and jibber jabber all comes to a screeching halt when you got a Notre Dame quarterback versus a Michigan State quarterback playing in the Iron Bowl. What is going on with that, Hayden? Tell us about that.
Oh, man, it's interesting. Tyler Buchner he is a big question mark in my book because I watched him play last year before his injury, and then after you got to see him come back a little bit. I'm just not sold on him. I'm also not too sold on Tommy Rees. I think Tommy Rees is going to be decent. Now, is he going to be able to carry that offense from decent to great? I don't think so. And that's why I have Alabama going 10-2 this year.
Be another good year.
It's going to be interesting though. In the Iron Bowl, you're going to have maybe is it going to be Peyton Thorne? Is it going to be Robbie Ashford? You would think Peyton Thorne, but I'm not completely sold on him just yet. I'm not completely sold on Alabama's quarterback or Auburn's quarterback situation just yet. It's going to be interesting.
Well, believe it or not,
the rest of the schedule, I have them beating Michigan State, or excuse me, I have my mind on Michigan State, beating Mississippi State and beating Vandy, and then you lose to Arkansas, you beat New Mexico State, and then you lose to Alabama. So I have Auburn finishing 7-5. Now
I'd say that's about right.
Can they do better than that? They could. They could pull off an upset somewhere, or they couldn't be upset somewhere. It's difficult to say right now, but that's how I have Auburn shaping up the rest of the year.
Hayden, let me ask you. We're all picking them to go 7-5.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we do this. Me and Matt do this. At best, that 8-4. Would you think possibly 8-4?
At best?
Yes, at best.
At best, I'd say 9-3 because you have And one game that I think about is the Iron Bowl this year, because you have an Alabama team that is not necessarily returning the most talent that they have within the past years. So it's going to be interesting, and especially if this game is played at night, if it's played at 6:00 or 2:30, then we're in for a show, because I feel like that if it's played in those time frames, that Jordan-Hare is going to be rocking, and Auburn is you're going to have those fans rocking. You obviously are going to have the team rocking, because it's the Iron Bowl. This is the best rivalry in college sports. So it's going to be interesting. So I would put Auburn's ceiling right now at 9-3. I think you definitely lose to Georgia, LSU, and I think you get upset, or whichever way you want to throw it, LSU or Arkansas. But it's
absolute worst. I've got them 5-7. That's at worst. Absolute worst. Yeah.
Hey, looking at since we're on Auburn, let's go over here and look at their 2024 schedule, and I'm sure you've looked at this too. And we got Auburn. They're going to have Oklahoma at Auburn, and they're also going to be hooking up with Kentucky again. And at some point, while they'll be hosting this year, Cal's going to come out here, so they're going to have this home and away. Mm-hmm. What do you think about Auburn hooking up, getting to host Oklahoma?
It's interesting. It's very interesting, but with one thing that I like to think about is how is Brent Venables going to respond to that first year? It was not a great year by any means. You go 6-6. So it wasn't a great year to start out for Brent Venables at Oklahoma. You have a bunch of talent leave and follow Lincoln Riley to USC, and then you have players go other places as well. So with Brent Venables coming in, these next 2 years are going to be key. You've got to get some good players coming into this year, because next year you run into the gauntlet that is the SEC, and if you're not prepared, you're going to get slapped in the face. And if you get slapped in the face your first year in the SEC, which I think they probably will, it's not going to leave a good taste in their mouths, and they're going to be missing a little bit of Big 12 ball. But I could be completely wrong. They could come in just fully loaded. It's going to be interesting to see. One thing that I'm looking forward to is seeing how Texas is going to look as well, because Texas is going to look good this year. In my humble opinion, I think that Texas wins the Big 12, and then you go into the SEC next year, and hopefully or maybe if you're Texas fans, hopefully you're going to go in feeling pretty confident about yourselves. But with Oklahoma, I can't say the same thing this year, because you look at last year, Oklahoma got blown out in the Red River rivalry. There we go.
See, I say that real fast 3 times.
I think they both will be competitive.